House board member at SCAN in East Harlem.
We have a program called GLASS, which is a gay and lesbian initiative for kids in our communities are not necessarily accepting of these kids. And when we were able to take this program on, our board sat there and said, you know, how do we do this? Is this mission drift? Every settlement house deals with this. How do you evolve to basically do the work that the community needs, but at the same time not lose your way? And that's difficult, especially when funding is being dangled in front of you to do something. And you know that might be the difference between the settlement house going under or not. And that's one of the biggest things that I've been able to contribute in reminding our board where we've come from, where we are when we see our kids like AJ come in and tell us, and listening to them about where they're going. And in listening to me, they're also listening to them because I was one of them.
Jamel first got involved with SCAN more than 30 years ago as a child himself.
I came to SCAN when I was 9 or 10. It was the 80s, mid-80s, and SCAN at the time was called Suspected Child Abuse and Neglect. So my mother, they tried to take us from her, the child welfare authorities, and my mom literally slams the door in the social worker's face, takes us no coats in the wintertime down the fire escape, and we're fugitives. We're on the run for like 3 weeks, and we go to a shelter. My mom eventually tries to register us to school because the citywide exams are coming up, and she's been charged with educational neglect. There's a warrant out for her arrest. They call the school, they find that out, my mom's arrested. And we end up in court, in family court, and one of the things my mom had to do as part of her plea deal was to go to this program at the Suspected Child Abuse and Neglect, which was SCAN.
At SCAN, Jamel found a home and a champion in Executive Director Lou Zuckman, who in many ways helped change the course of his life.
Around the same time, SCAN comes of age and hires Lou Zuckman as the executive director, and it's kind of like our Michael Jordan draft pick to some extent, because SCAN will end up growing in ways that were phenomenal.
We started Reach for Stars as the result of the success of Jamel Oasis Sweat, one of our young people who's now a board member. He's now my boss, and I'll never forget when he was about 12 or 13, he comes into my office and sits in my chair, puts his feet up, and he says, one day I'm going to be the boss here. And that's, I guess, that kind of empowerment is what we try to be about.
And that's also true today with kids like AJ.
He's at the place that I was at, and that's important. It's a rite of passage. It doesn't happen in our communities at 18 and 19 where kids go to college like they do in some middle-class suburbs. In our communities, at 10, you have access to guns, you have access to drugs, you have access to the ability to procreate.